Well, I tried something different. I took the fire ants and actually mixed them with the Alumilite till I had a pasty-like mixture. Then I placed this in the mold without the brass tubes. Of course, what happened is it formed an indent on the end of each of the blanks, which would be a good starting point for a drill to drill a hole through these. And then I'll insert the brass tubes, and then we'll try turning these. It looks like I've got a really good mixture of fire ants throughout the whole blank. So I'm hoping this will be a much more stable turn. Now, the only problem will be, as I expose the fire ant parts, will I be able to get them smooth enough by applying thin CA glue or some other type of finish. So we'll see how this works, but it looks like this may be much more successful than the previous venture. Okay, this is the Slimline Pro kit that I'm going to use. I've gone ahead and drilled out these blanks now with an 8mm twist bit. So I'm ready now to insert the brass tubes. These particular brass tubes have been pretty etched or roughed up, so you don't have to really do anything in terms of sanding these before you apply the glue. And I'm going to use some thick CA glue to insert those. And after I've done that, I'll get back to you. Okay, I've inserted the brass tubes now into the fire ant blanks. They are going to require a little bit of trimming. I'll probably do that on the disc sander because there's not really a lot of trimming that needs to be done here. And then I'll insert the bushings and we'll turn these on the lathe, see if we can get us a nice looking Slimline Pro pin out of these fire ant castings. Okay, I've inserted the Slimline Pro bushings, and this is ready now to take to the lathe and see if we can turn this down and get ourselves a fire ant pin that might be acceptable. Well, the pin blanks turned up really well. Didn't have any blowouts. They sanded fairly well. I gave them a coat of thick CA glue just to take care of any little divots that might be there. I'm going to then polish it up with some micromesh sanding pads and maybe put some polish on it. You can't really see much here because if you were to do like the coffee bean blank that I've seen before, where it exposes, the coffee beans that have been embedded in the acrylic, I think the same thing goes here, that you're just getting a lot of little parts and pieces of the ants that are exposed on the surface, so you're not getting a really clear picture of the fire ants. So the one pin that I did that came out, I thought, pretty successfully, the pins were the ants were underneath the clear acrylic, and it was a little easier to see them. Here, since they're mixed in with the acrylic, kind of gives the acrylic a gray appearance, not as sharp a contrast. So we'll see how this polishes up, and then we'll put it together in a pin. Okay, here are the pin barrels that I've taken off the lathe. They're really polished up, really smooth, no big divots or chunks. So that worked out really well. I imagine that if you had a microscope, you could see the fire ants in some areas of this, but there's also some areas that are kind of clouded. And I don't know if that's because the fire ants didn't get into that area when the rosin's set up. But overall, the blanks came out really intact this time, polished up nicely. So I'll go ahead and put it together as a pen, and then we'll show you what it. Well, here is the pen, finally assembled. This is a Slimline Pro pen. And you can still see a lot of blushing there, which I think is just areas where the fire ants didn't mix that well or separated from the acrylic when it was in the mold. If you get up close, you can see the fire ants. So they are completely embedded in this, and it has a nice smooth finish, not as torn up and raggedy as the last one that I did. So let's hang it up for fire ant pens. I don't think we're going to try to make any more of these. I think we've done all we can do. So we'll end with that.
It's like trying to swim across the ocean with nowhere to go but down, and you try to take everything with you.